going on, responsible day traders? Today is Monday, April 17th, 2023. I'm Lindsay Duff, and this is Responsible Day Trading. I wanted to come to you today because I kind of wanted to take back my Sundays, and I'm sitting here Sunday evening getting that video done and out, and we can still talk about it on Mondays because as I'm looking at it more and more on Sunday evenings, it is really slow opening. So by the time I was ready to sit down and work on the video, there was only 4 or 5 bars, even on the 233. So I said, you know what? We're just going to hold up till tomorrow. We're going to see how it goes. And I'm going to take my Sundays back. So, and that's one of the beautiful things about what we do here. We really do this job because we want to have control of our time, our energy, our money, our thoughts, just control of our lives. Now, are we still going to need to find time to sit down, to do things? Yeah, it's not just all willy-nilly and free in the wind. We still have to dedicate time and energy to learning, to trading, to reviewing, because this is not something that happens overnight. Whenever you're looking to trade, it is something that's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's going to take dedication. It's like learning a new language is something that I like to think about it as, because when you're learning a new language, you start off with the very basics, and then you start to expand from there and become more complex and just understand the language a little bit better. So it's never just, hey, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to know exactly what to do. You know, if you are an English speaker and you've never heard or seen a day of French in your life, you look at a sentence, you may be able to pick out 1 or 2 words that are similar, but otherwise you're going to be completely lost in the situation. So it is super important to take the time and the energy to learn, to work with your program, to whatever you're looking at learning from. Spend time to make sure you understand it. Practice. You have to have practice, patience, dedication. All of that is super important. But as for Sunday night, I know last week we didn't have a video out last week. It was Easter. I figured I'd take the time off on Sunday. And this week I was just like, the market was moving so slow. I bet I could do this on Monday and have a little bit more information to work with. So here we are. Guys, don't forget, we do have a live seminar coming up very soon here in Houston. It is coming up pretty close. That's going to be April 28th through the 30th. There's going to be 2 seminars going on simultaneously. We're going to have one for students who have already been through the curriculum, and we're going to have ones for people who have never seen this curriculum before. And so that means that we're going to take you from point A to point Z, how to even set it up in NinjaTrader, all those kind of things, or even how to set up NinjaTrader, all those kind of things that are really going to help you to understand what we're doing here and how we see the market. If you're interested in finding out about those, hit us up at info@responsibledaytrading.com. There will be a link in the comments below that will walk you through what we're doing there and just how the whole thing's going to go. So we're going to have a little meet and greet on Thursday. So if you want to show up a little early, we're going to go and have some snacks and some drinks and just kind of meet everybody, say hello, so we can be prepared for Friday. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start our day. We know that whenever we're starting out, we always start with what's going on in the news. Now, I did take a look at the news last night. There's none today, so wasn't really super concerned about starting off on a Monday. But let's take a look at the news, and then we're going to take a look at what's going on in the market and what we can anticipate. All right, guys, so if you want to come on over to responsibledaytrading.com, you're going to go to news, and then you'll go to market news whenever you're looking to find out where this news is at. So we didn't have anything today. Tomorrow we have pre-market, so an hour before the market opens. We want to just be aware. And guys, remember, these are high impact news. And you see, they've got the 3 here, the high volatility news. So they tend to make the market move a little bit. Now, does that mean every time this news comes out, the market's just going to fly off the handle? Not necessarily, but we want to pay attention and we want to be aware. So Wednesday, we have crude oil inventories. That's going to happen an hour after the market opens. And then Thursday, we've got a little bit an hour before, so an hour before the market opens. and then half an hour after the market opens, existing home sales. There's nothing on Friday. So, we may have a kind of lighter week. Okay, so the market opened about 15 minutes ago, and what we're looking at here first is the daily chart. And you can see here's the daily chart. I'm going to spread it out a little bit more just so it kind of covers up and you can see where it's at. It's just covering the chart behind it. So this is our daily chart. And what's happened in our daily chart is we did have a downtrend. Now, the downtrend has not continued down, but it's struggling to go up, okay? So this big, thick blue line was an area that I drew way, way back here whenever we made this high and we had a problem going through it. We pulled back into it. And then you can see this has been an area that's held up the market several times. It's pulled back up into it as resistance quite a few times. We haven't really broken back through it to make it into support. It made the attempt here, but it just could not push through, right? So what we're expecting to happen at this point is a couple of different things. We have a couple of different options of things that could happen. First thing that could happen is we could see this pick up the pace, push through here, pull back into it, kind of like what we saw here, but continue with strength to the upside. That's our first scenario. Second scenario is that this little bit of head and shoulders holds, we push through and we start seeing big, big moves to the downside. Now, what we see right here in the MACDs is we saw it weaken and it gave us a purple BB, and we've got weak MACDs again. So it's really, really hard to think that this is just going to fly through that resistance area that we've been trying to get through for a while. And I just want to kind of look back in reference to here, and I'll actually put back on this crosshair. I want to look back in reference to here of where this happened before. We got that little purple BB. It just pushed up very weakly, and then what happens? It pulled back in with some strength. Now, it did continue up here in this particular case. And hey, we may see something like that happen again, but it is really, really struggling. We don't see strength and momentum like we saw right back in here in the BBs. The BBs back in here were showing us strength and momentum to the upside, which meant that they were pulled away from the Bollinger Band. There was distance between the BBs. We're not really seeing that right now. And that could really be a sign that this is going to give a push back down. We've been kind of stuck in this area for a while. We have weak EMAs. Weak EMAs means that they are easily violated. And we can see that they were pushed above here, back below, back above, back below, back above. So we're going to assume that it could easily get back below. Again, just kind of like it did right here. It's almost that same look, but that doesn't mean it will. We still are technically and currently in direction to the upside, which means we're above the EMAs, we're above the zero line, so the direction is still up. It's not up with strength, but it is up. Now, let's look at this 28,657. This is our much larger tick chart, the 28,657, which means each bar on here that is created is 28,657 ticks or transactions. Now we can see we pulled down to the EMAs. It did have this nice little pullback. MACDs didn't pull in and it pushed to the upside. Love that. Love it, right? But we're right back up into this area that is held several times. Now, whenever this price did pull back up, that BB didn't quite even have the strength to break through the top Bollinger Band. So while this area is a cute little area, it's a nice little area to rest, and we can see it happens here as we pull back to the EMA here and here and here. I mean, I'm just looking at the way this move looks and at the way this one looks, and it's so similar to what we might be seeing right here in the MACDs to push back down. So rolling inside, pushing down. Now, we're still going to have the zero line to contend with. We have pushed above and below it and above and below it. And if we have weak BBs as we're pulling back down here, we're going to still anticipate the area to hold. The EMAs are open very, very weakly to the upside. What we really, really need to see to have some, have some really good thought process that this is going to push up is for this to hold, push back up through this area, possibly even back above here, see these MACDs roll up to the upside and not stay inside in purple and push down. So right now, on both the 28,657 and the daily chart, the direction is to the upside. So let's take a look at what the 3 trading charts that we're currently using are doing. Right now, you can see on the 10,946, the direction is to the upside. It has pulled into the EMAs. It's pulled back into the EMAs as they're opening up with strength. But we can see the MACDs are struggling just a little bit to agree. They look like they're trying to push purple and down, as we can see what happened right there, which will very easily pull it back in deeper into the area of the EMAs. I love that it's starting to move at 9 o'clock. We don't have any news particular today, but there might be something coming out. Now, what we can see here is, yes, the direction on the 10,946 has moved to the upside. We pulled away from the EMAs. We're above the zero line, but we want to see this push back up further and get back above this area with the MACDs agreeing that it's going to continue up if we're going to see this continue up from here. It may be a bit of a struggle to go up. As you can see, the MACD is trying to push down, but the direction is still up. So we're going to keep that in mind as we are moving through these few moments. Now on the 1597, the direction was down here. It shifted back up here. It's shifting back down here. It tried to shift back up here, but didn't quite make it just yet. Now the MACDs are leading higher each time. They are purple and pushing down at this time, so it could very easily roll down and get back down a little bit further. But we can see it's kind of having a bit of a struggle to do that at the moment. If I'm looking at my 233, we can see the direction has been shifting to the downside. It's the same scenario here. MACDs are still leading higher. We haven't gotten back below these areas. It does look like it's attempting to make an M pivot here, but it doesn't have far to go to reach the bottom of that M, which is right in here, which could technically turn into a W pivot to the upside. So while this is really looking like it's attempting to push down right now, we're not quite there just yet. We're still at an area that's opening up and holding. While the BBs are pointing down, they're at the zero line. So if they begin to slow here, we'll start to see them roll to the upside. If we're looking in the bigger picture, the direction is still to the upside. On our 10,946, on our daily chart, on our 233, all of that is still to the upside. But if we're looking at our smaller charts, it is attempting to make the push back to the downside. It hasn't quite gotten there, but it's definitely attempting to make that push back to the downside. So long story short, our direction is up on all charts currently. On our daily chart, on our 28,657, the 10,946, the 1597, the 233, the 4181, the 610, all of them, the direction is to the upside. Now, is it up with strength? Heck no, it's not. And it's really struggling to stay up. So we need to keep our eye on it to decide if it's going to turn down. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up today. I have some of my educators starting to come in this week so we can start preparing for the seminar. I have one who's showing up today. So I know it's a couple of weeks before the seminar, but they also want to see a little bit of Texas and a little bit of Houston. So we're going to show them a good time while they're here. But if you have questions, definitely reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. If you think that you want to be a part of the seminar, we're happy to have you there. We will definitely find a way to make room for you if we run out of space. I doubt that's going to happen. So just reach out to us, let us know, and we'll be happy to help you out. All right, guys, I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. And as always, you know that I look forward to catching you on the profitable side.